Julius Caesar is one of the most famous names in history. His life was full of battles, politics, ambition, and betrayal. Today, let us follow his journey step by step, from a young Roman boy to the ruler of the Republic, and finally to his tragic death. Julius Caesar was born in 100 BC in Rome. His full name was Gaius Julius Caesar. He came from a noble family, but his family was not the richest in Rome. The Julii family claimed they were descendants of the goddess Venus, which gave them a special prestige. Caesar's father, also named Gaius Julius Caesar, was a respected man who served as a governor in Asia Minor. His mother, Aurelia Cotta, came from an important and wealthy family. Aurelia played a very big role in young Caesar's life. She was intelligent, strict, and taught him discipline. When Caesar was a teenager, Rome was in political chaos. There were two powerful men fighting for control: Marius, who was related to Caesar through marriage, and Sulla, a famous general. Caesar's family supported Marius, which was dangerous when Sulla won the civil war. In 82 BC, Sulla ordered Caesar to divorce his wife Cornelia, who was the daughter of a strong supporter of Marius. But Caesar refused. This was very risky and showed his courage and stubborn character. Sulla punished him by taking away his inheritance and forcing him to hide. For some time, Caesar lived far from Rome, moving from place to place, always in danger. This early part of his life shaped him into a man who was brave, ambitious, and willing to take risks. Even at a young age, he showed strong will and the ability to survive in difficult times. After escaping from Sulla's anger, Caesar began his career in the military. He joined the army and served in Asia Minor and Cilicia, modern-day Turkey. He quickly showed that he was not only brave, but also very talented as a soldier and leader. One famous story comes from this period. Caesar was captured by pirates in the Mediterranean Sea. The pirates asked for a ransom of 20 talents of silver, but Caesar laughed and told them they should ask for 50 talents, because he was worth much more. While he was their prisoner, Caesar acted as if he was the leader, not the captive. He read poetry to them, joked with them, and even warned them that he would one day punish them. The pirates thought he was joking, but when the ransom was paid and Caesar was released, he quickly raised a fleet, hunted them down, and had them executed. This story made him famous for his courage, cleverness, and determination. In 69 BC, Caesar returned to Rome and began his political career. He became a quaestor, which was an important financial official in the Roman Republic. Around this time, he also married his second wife, Pompeia, after Cornelia had passed away. Caesar gained popularity because he supported the common people of Rome, not just the rich aristocrats. He gave speeches, helped organize games, and worked hard to create a public image of himself as a young, ambitious, and generous man. This period showed the world that Caesar was not just another Roman noble. He was a man of great ambition who could survive danger, win people's support, and make himself known. Step by step, he was moving closer to real power. By the late 60s BC, Caesar was becoming more and more important in Roman politics. After serving as quaestor, he climbed the political ladder step by step. In Rome, this path was called the cursus honorum, the sequence of offices that ambitious men needed to follow to reach the top. In 65 BC, Caesar became aedile, a position responsible for public buildings and festivals. He spent a huge amount of money on games, gladiator shows, and public entertainment. These events were very popular with the people of Rome, and they made Caesar even more famous. However, he borrowed heavily to pay for them, putting himself deep into debt. Caesar understood something important. Money could be borrowed, but popularity and political support were priceless. In 63 BC, he reached another milestone when he was elected Pontifex Maximus, the chief priest of Rome. This was surprising because Caesar was still young and had strong rivals. Many people believed he won by bribing voters, but it didn't matter. He had secured one of the most respected titles in Rome. During this time, Caesar also worked to build alliances with powerful people. He became friends with Marcus Licinius Crassus, the richest man in Rome, who often helped him pay off his debts. He also developed ties with Pompey, one of the most successful generals of the time. These relationships would later become very important. By 60 BC, Caesar had become praetor and then governor of a Spanish province. In Spain, he showed his military skills again by defeating local tribes and earning wealth for himself and his soldiers. When he returned to Rome, he was no longer just a popular politician. He was also a proven military commander. This period was crucial. Caesar had gained power, popularity, and allies. He was now ready to step on to the biggest stage in Roman politics and change history forever. By 60 BC, Caesar understood that to reach the very top in Roman politics, he needed powerful allies. On his own, he had popularity, but not enough money or military strength to compete with the most powerful men in Rome. So, he made a clever political move. He formed an informal alliance with two of the most influential Romans of that time. Pompey the Great, who was a celebrated general who had won many battles in the East and was very popular with the army. Marcus Licinius Crassus, the richest man in Rome, who had enormous wealth and influence. Together with Caesar, they created what historians called the First Triumvirate, which means rule of three men. This was not an official government body, but a secret agreement to help each other gain power and control Rome. Under this deal, Pompey got land for his soldiers and recognition of his military victories. Crassus received political favors that supported his businesses and finances. Caesar got the position of consul in 59 BC, the highest elected office in Rome. As consul, he was bold and often clashed with the Senate. He pushed through reforms that helped the poor and strengthened his allies. His opponents accused him of breaking traditions and ignoring rules, but he didn't care. Caesar knew he was building his political empire. At the end of his consulship, Caesar arranged to become governor of Gaul, modern-day France and Belgium. This was a brilliant move because it gave him command over several legions, Roman armies, and the opportunity to wage wars, earn glory, and build loyalty among soldiers. Between 60 and 53 BC, the alliance of the triumvirate was strong, but it was also fragile. Pompey and Crassus did not trust each other, and Caesar was always the clever middleman. Eventually, tensions grew, and the balance of power began to shake. But for Caesar, the triumvirate was a launchpad to greatness. It gave him the tools he needed to begin the most famous part of his career, the Gallic Wars, where he would become a military legend. When Julius Caesar became governor of Gaul in 58 BC, he received command over several Roman legions. This was the beginning of the Gallic Wars, which lasted for almost 10 years. During this time, Caesar expanded Rome's territory and became one of the greatest military leaders in history. At first, he claimed he was only protecting Roman allies from hostile tribes, but soon it became clear that he wanted conquest and glory. Step by step, he fought against many Gallic tribes across what is now France, Belgium, Switzerland, and parts of Germany. One of his greatest victories was against the Helvetii, a migrating tribe that threatened Roman lands. Then he defeated the Belgae, who were considered some of the bravest warriors in Gaul. He also crossed into Britain twice.
When Caesar crossed the Rubicon in 49 BC, he officially declared war on the Senate and on his former ally, Pompey the Great. Many Roman senators quickly fled Rome, afraid of Caesar's approaching army. Pompey gathered his forces in Greece, while Caesar moved swiftly through Italy, facing little resistance. Caesar's strategy was speed. He captured key cities, took control of the state treasury, and presented himself not as a destroyer, but as a leader who wanted peace. He often forgave his enemies instead of executing them, which made him popular but also left rivals who could fight again later. The most important battle came in 48 BC at Pharsalus in Greece. Pompey had a much larger army, supported by the Senate, but Caesar's troops were battle-hardened from the Gallic Wars, and he himself was a brilliant commander. Despite being outnumbered, Caesar crushed Pompey's forces. Pompey fled to Egypt, hoping for safety, but instead he was murdered by Egyptian officials who wanted to please Caesar. When Caesar arrived and saw Pompey's severed head, he was not pleased. He wanted forgiveness, not betrayal. While in Egypt, Caesar became involved in local politics. He supported Cleopatra VII in her struggle for the throne against her brother. Their alliance was both political and romantic, and together they secured Cleopatra's rule. After Egypt, Caesar continued to fight the remaining Pompeian forces across the Roman world. He won battles in Asia Minor, famously declaring his swift victory with the words, "Veni, vidi, vici." I came, I saw, I conquered. By 45 BC, after the Battle of Munda in Spain, Caesar was the undisputed master of Rome. The Civil War was over. Caesar had defeated all rivals and returned to Rome as the most powerful man in the Republic. But instead of restoring the old system, he was about to transform Rome in a way that would alarm many senators. After winning the Civil War, Julius Caesar returned to Rome as the most powerful man in the Republic. The Senate gave him extraordinary powers, and he was named Dictator for 10 years, later even Dictator for life, Dictator perpetuo. As dictator, Caesar introduced many important reforms. He reduced debts and created new colonies to give land to veterans and the poor. He reorganized the calendar into the Julian calendar, which is the basis of the one we still use today. He expanded Roman citizenship to more people in the provinces. He increased the size of the Senate, bringing in new men loyal to him. Caesar also began great building projects, improved roads, and planned military campaigns against Parthia in the east. He was not only a conqueror, but also a reformer who tried to make Rome stronger and more organized. However, his growing power worried many senators. They feared he wanted to become a king, something Romans hated since the time of their first kings centuries earlier. His new title, Dictator for life, made his enemies believe that the Republic was ending and monarchy was returning. A group of senators, including some who had been close to him, formed a secret plan. The leaders were Brutus and Cassius, men who claimed they were saving the Republic. On the Ides of March, Caesar went to a Senate meeting in the theater of Pompey. There, the conspirators attacked him with daggers. According to tradition, he was stabbed 23 times. Some say his last words were, "Et tu, Brute," though historians are not sure if he really said this. Julius Caesar died at the age of 55. His assassination shocked Rome and the entire ancient world. The conspirators thought they were saving the Republic, but instead they created more chaos. Soon after, Rome fell into another series of civil wars, which finally ended with the rise of Caesar's adopted heir, Octavian, later Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. Julius Caesar's life was short but extraordinary. He was a soldier, a politician, a reformer, and finally a victim of betrayal. His death did not save the Republic. Instead, it opened the way for his adopted heir, Octavian, later Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. Caesar's story is a reminder of how ambition, power, and fate can change the course of history forever.